Hi friends, it's Julia. I'm here to share a layout that I created using my May 2020 Counterfeit Kit Challenge Kit. The layout itself is called Happy Birthday, and it's going to be a two-page layout of my oldest granddaughter's birthday party. And in the photos, it's so sweet. She's dressed up as a princess. She has a princess dress on, and so in her mind, it's a princess dress. So that's cool. It's just a cool thing. And I know because her dress is blue, I might get some comments about why did I use yellow toned paper. And really, it's because it's the kit that I had and it's the photos that I wanted to scrapbook. I don't always match my photos to the paper that I select, but I try to have similar tones in maybe the embellishments that I use because there's a lot of pink in the photos as far as wrapping paper goes. There's yellow in the wrapping paper. There's cream tones. I felt like it all worked together, and I'm pleased with how the overall layout came out. You can see I'm just cutting down the background papers, and I believe I'm using a scrapbook generation sketch to create this layout. When I have photos that I want to use a two-page layout on, I will go to scrapbook generation. They are my go-to for lots of photos on a two-page layout. And I had forgotten that those background papers had branding strips on them. They're Basil cardstock, the smooth cardstock. So I had to go through and cut off the branding strip. And so there I'm just placing my papers down and following the sketch really in positioning the papers. I don't think with the butterfly paper, I don't think that it called for a full sheet of paper. I think it called for some other type of embellishment there. But I made it work for me. And I got it a little too wide. So I overlapped a little bit there to make it work so that I can use that little scrap of paper along the top. Yeah. Sorry you're getting a look at my early Saturday morning bedhead. I tend to do a lot of scrapbooking either on Saturday or Sunday mornings on my weekends off. And yeah, I come right into the scrapbook room and I don't even bother combing my hair most of the time. I do wear it in a top knot when I go to bed, and so I will take that down, but not always. And I don't know if you can tell in these photos, but I've significantly cut my hair off. It was pretty long down to my bum, and I've cut it all off up to my shoulders just for something different. Anywho, so now that I have the background situated, it's a matter of placing the photos. And I cut them similar to what was in the original sketch, but they didn't work. So I went through and I cut them how I wanted them to, and I positioned them how I wanted them to. The overall feel of the layout is the same. The background papers, of course, are very similar to the inspiration layout. But like I said, and I've said it multiple times, I start with the sketch and then I tweak it to make it my own. And that's the beauty of using a sketch, is that you can do that. You don't have to necessarily follow the sketch to a T, even though sometimes I do. And when I first started, I sure did. Every sketch I followed right along with, however it was done. And now, I veer and make it my own where I need to. So now I think I actually added on more photos than what the original sketch called for. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it was originally supposed to be 8 photos, but I added a couple of extra. And so here you see me putting down the happy birthday title on the edge of a ruler. And that's just something that I've always done when I create titles. I will sometimes put one word per ruler, and I have 3 rulers for this very purpose. And I will put them there, put it on the edge, and ever so often I have to go through and clean up my rulers because they get kind of gummy. Now I'm pulling some stickers aside that I want to use, and I know I'm going to pop some of these up, so I'm going through and I'm figuring out what I want to use and what I'm going to pop up. I love that sentiment. It says, today your story begins. And isn't that true with every birthday? You have the opportunity to spend a year doing whatever it is that you want to do. And especially when you're a kid, because you can change your mind 100 times. You can start your birthday off saying, I want to be a princess. I want to be a ballerina princess rock star. And next year, on your birthday, you might want to be a mad scientist, cheerleading, flute player. You never know what a year's going to do. When you're young, you have all that potential and possibility. And no limits until people tell you you have limits. And I think that's the sucky part about growing up is, I guess, as you grow, you realize that you really are limited in what you can do, but we tell ourselves a lot of times that we are way more limited than what we truly are. Our options are limitless, even as adults. We just have to take the chance, take the risk. And kids do it in their mind every single day when they decide they're going to be something new. Anywho, so back to the layout. I am grabbing some foam tape and I'm just layering it up here on the back of one of my stickers. And over the top of, I put celebrate happy birthday, and it says, oh, happy day on that little banner. Yeah, I love how that turned out. I love that it gives that pop of additional oomph to the title. And there on that lower corner, I added a die cut piece that says today on top of a die cut tag. And so I'm deciding if I want to layer up something down there to kind of build a cluster down there. I've put that circle sticker up at the top and I have popped it up on a foam tape, and I've got this tag here and it says hello. And I don't know if I necessarily wanted to say hello. So you'll see as I work along here, I'm going to cover that part up. And that's pretty much how it goes. And then I've got those stickers that are, they're made, I think, to go like on toothpicks or something to make little pennant flags. But I just cut them in half and I'm using them as banner elements to go across the bottom of that tag. Sorry, had to take a break for a yawn there. It's been a long day. I'm loving how this is looking. But I really love how this layout turned out altogether. And I especially love that it's not necessarily matchy-matchy. The photo layout is similar on each page. It's just flipped. But the background papers are not symmetrical on the back sides. The embellishments are not symmetrical on the back sides. And I love that. I know that there are people in the world that scrapbook and have to have the same matchy-matchy on each side. And that's okay for them. Sometimes you go to somebody's house and they have to have the exact same layouts on their walls for, their artwork or whatever photos of family. They have to have it matchy-matchy as well. Yeah, no, not at my house. It's kind of random. Sorry for the headshot there. And you see, I've got that happy birthday where I want it. And so I just need to get it stuck down. And I use an additional ruler to help me do that. And now I'm going to peel off all of that foam adhesive tape. I got it all torn off. Yeah. And got all of those embellishments down. And here I'm going through and I'm adding little hearts by the month and day of her birthday. You probably can't tell it necessarily on the layout, but there will be a photo at the end, and it's got the month, the day, and the year on that. And so I put a little heart right beside the month, and I pointed to the 19th. And then, the heart at the top is on October, and it's pointing to 2014 because that's when those photos are from. Here I'm just looking through my additional embellishments to see what else I want to use. And I'm pulling out these chipboard phrases that I want to use. That one there says, "The Sweet Life," and then the next one that I put down says, "Such a happy moment," and then this last one says, "So very fun." And I just add them across there. And I go through and look to see if there's anything else on those chipboard pieces that I want to use, and there's not. So I feel like I'm a fairly heavy-handed embellisher, and so I tend to add a lot more embellishments than some people do, not as much as others. You know, it's kind of dependent. I've got a piece of washi tape here that I want to have come out over at the edge on the right side, but I also need it to, I am matchy-matchy in that respect that I want it to be on the other side as well. And I ended up cutting that banner the wrong direction. So I had to go back and recut that. And so now I'll add that piece, the same piece to the other side. Yeah, that makes me feel better, even though it is not the exact same embellishment in the same placement. They're on both sides, so that does make me feel better. And I'm still, you know, playing around with embellishments and decide I want to point that there to the date, which is the 19th of October. And so, yeah, I'm going to add some of these puffy cameras to the layout. And those I've had for a long time, as these L Studio hearts and dots and stars. I've had those for a long time as well. And I'm trying to pull in some stuff that even though it's newer to my stash, I've still had it for a while and I haven't used it. And so I want to be able to get some of this stuff used up. And that's the whole thing. You know, I spent years and years and years building this stash collection. I want to be able to use it. And that's the joy of making kits. I kind of limit myself for everything that I have in my room, and I have a ton of supplies. When I build a kit for the month, I'm limiting myself on what I pull from. And so that makes my choices less. And so that helps me to be able to create. When I first started scrapbooking, it would take me forever. Even though I had a very limited supply of what I had, it took me forever to make decisions on what embellishments to use and which papers to use and how to cut them and all of those things. And then I found sketches, and so that has made a world of difference for me. And I've been scrapbooking over 20 years now. So here I'm adding some brads along. And yeah, I'm nearly done. I'll go back through and add some enamel dots here in just a minute. And I have a few last little bits and pieces that I want to add in. I'm adding in some photo corners that I had punched out from some scrap paper. I'm going to add one towards the top and one towards the bottom, just to give it a little bit of extra dimension and add that black color in a little bit more. And now you can see I have some more brads out. I'm trying to debate if I'm going to add additional brads or if I am going to add enamel dots. And so in each little cluster there, I'm going to add at least one brad and then a couple of enamel dots. Or sorry, two brads and one enamel dot. I had to stop and look back at my layout. And that's something that I've been trying to focus on too this year, is getting that little box of brads and photo anchors used up. And I have used a bunch out of it, but I've added some additional pieces from like smaller bits and pieces left over from additional supplies that I've added into kits. So I'm working through it. It's just a slower process than what I would really like. Anyway, I'm getting pretty close to the end here, and if you stick around, you'll see some close-up photos or still photos of the layouts. And I'm so glad that, I'm finally getting through this kit and getting these layouts done so that they can be added into the book. And this is from 2014. So I'm nearly to the end of the photos that I wanted to scrapbook for 2014. So that really makes me feel good. And that album is just about ready to go into my living room on my bookshelf in my living room. Anyway, guys, I sure appreciate you stopping by and watching this layout, and I hope it inspires you to get into your stash to create something fun and something new, even if it's really old stash. I hope it inspires you to get into your stash and use it up. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section, and I will be glad to respond to you. If you have any comments, I would love to hear them. And I will see you guys on the next layout. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.